All times in the following are Eastern Daylight Time. In addition, the following program contains audio clips from September 11th, 2001. These audio clips are largely unedited, so headphone users are advised to adjust their volume before the start of the program.
Good morning, American 11 with you, passing through 190-230.
American 11 Boston, center roger, climb maintain for level 280. American 11, climb maintain for level 290.
90, American 11.
American 11, turn 20 degrees right.
20 right, American 11.
American 11, climb maintain for level 350. American 11 Boston. American 11, American 11, how do you hear the center? Is that American 11 trying to call?
Study. We have some planes. Just stay quiet and you'll be okay. We're turning to the airport.
Roger, weapon. All right, Boston Center, Team U. We have a problem here. We have a hijacked aircraft headed towards New York.
Is this real world or exercise?
No, this is not an exercise, not a test.
Confirmed hijack.
United 175, heavy 31.
United 175, New York Center, roger.
Center American 77 with you, level 330.
American 77, Indy Center, Roger, squawk 3743.
3743, American 77.
American 77, climb and maintain, flight level 350.
33350, American 77.
United 175, recycle your transponder and squawk code of 1470. United 175, New York. United 175, do you read New York?
American 77, clear direct Falmouth.
Direct Falmouth, American 77, thank you.
Plane crash on the southern tip of Manhattan.
You see that target there, the 3321 code at 335 climbing? Don't know who he is.
He was an airplane 767. Lost in the LAX, he was hijacked.
American 77, Indy. American 77, Indy. American 77, American Indy. American 77, American Indy. Radio check, how do you read?
Do you see that? Do you know about that 3321 code?
Yeah, we're watching him.
Okay, because we don't know what he's doing.
I know. Leaving some big contrast areas right there. Hold on. You know who he is?
We don't know who he is. We're just picking him up now.
All right, heads up, man. It looks like another one.
Another one just went into it. Another one just crashed into the World Trade Center. Oh my God, we just saw. Oh my God, the building just exploded.
Oh God, they better call the president.
On our tape, it says we have some planes, plural.
United 93, checking in 350.
United 93, 350, roger. United 93, that traffic for you is 1 o'clock, 12 miles eastbound 370.
Negative contact, we're looking, United 93.
You got United 93? United 93.
South of Chardonnay,
yeah.
descended. I just saying, it looked like he descended
I
there.
don't think so. United 93, verified 350.
The captain, please sit down. Keep remaining sitting. We have a bomb aboard.
National 62, anybody, quickly, please.
National, you got a primary target heading for P56 to the west, 10 west, fast moving.
The hijackers have probably know what they're doing in the cockpit.
This is Gopher 06. It looks like that aircraft crashed into the Pentagon, sir.
A new type of war. That's what it is.
Is today like the National Terrorist Day or something that we missed out on? September 11th, 2001.
Sir, if you'd like, we've got black smoke inside at our 9 o'clock now. It looks like about 30 miles.
We got a United 93 out here. Are you aware of that?
United
That has a bomb on board.
A bomb on board.
If this guy is like the other guys, the hijackers have been strangling all the codes. They know what they're doing.
It sounds like chaos. Oh my God, yeah.
American Airlines Flight 11, piloted by Mohammed Atta, flew into the World Trade Center, North Tower, at 8:46, September 11th, 2001. Infrared sensors in space recorded the fireball. It was a clear day, and 37 nautical miles to the west, at 32,000 feet, the fireball was also observed from the cockpit of United Airlines Flight 175, by that time piloted by Marwan al-Shahi. Immediately, the United Airlines 175 transponder code changed, and changed again a minute later, settling on code 3321. Marwan al-Shahi likely made the code changes. Authors have described al-Shahi as the acknowledged authority in the Hamburg cell on Islamic scriptures. The Quran, chapter 33, verse 21. Ye have indeed in the messenger of Allah a beautiful pattern for anyone whose hope is in Allah and the final day, and who engages much in the praise of Allah. The Quran, chapter 17, verse 5. When the first of the warnings came to pass, we sent against you our servants, given to terrible warfare. They entered the very inmost parts of your homes, and it was a warning fulfilled. 9/11 was a sophisticated attack, planned in meticulous detail. Consider the Last Night document on individual preparation, 3 copies of which were found in the aftermath investigation. It is logical that the attack itself was as thorough as individual preparation. The second instruction in the Last Night document is, familiarize yourself with the plan well from every aspect. Given the United Airlines 175 code change and the language of the Last Night document, it is logical to say that all planning was in honor to Allah, no more so than the selection of the lead plane, American 11. The Quran, chapter 1, verse 1. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. The nation was under attack. A small, asymmetrical force of just 19 individuals assaulted a nation of 285 million people. Specifically, the National Airspace System was attacked, a subsystem of the National Transportation System. The 9/11 Commission described the growth of a new kind of terrorism from 1988 to 1998. The significant event indicating this growth was the first attack against the World Trade Center in February 1993. The Commission report detailed, in sequence, subsequent national preparation in law enforcement, the Federal Aviation Administration, the intelligence community, the Departments of State and Defense, the White House, and Congress. Reports and recommendations were measured in scores. None prevented the attack. In 1985, a terrorist organization by the name of Al-Qaeda was formed by Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. This organization would ultimately become terrorist entrepreneurs, with an agenda to attack and punish the United States for perceived wrongs. Al-Qaeda's duty was to awaken the Islamic nation, and to drag the United States into a war with Islam. And by 1993, Al-Qaeda was a global terrorist organization. That same year, on February 26th, one of the leading figures of Al-Qaeda, the Blind Sheikh, struck against the World Trade Center. His architect for the plan, Ramzi Youssef, moved on to concoct extraordinary schemes, including attacks on American airliners. Nearly a decade later, those schemes had matured into a sophisticated attack against American economic and military strength. New York and the World Trade Centers became the economic target. Washington, D.C. and the Pentagon became the military target. A political target, the Capitol building, was included in the plan. In August 1996, bin Laden declared war on the United States. All that was left was to recruit, organize, and train a force to attack. By 1999, Al-Qaeda had become a potent enemy to the United States, and were almost ready to strike. With that brief historical background, we can now focus on the Battle of September 11th. This is the first in a series of episodes describing the Battle of September 11th, 2001. The series is based on primary source information of the day, air traffic control communications, military air defense communications, and radar files from the Joint Surveillance System, a system shared by the United States Air Force and the Federal Aviation Administration. In this first article, we will describe in concise terms the duration of the attack, the extent of the defense, and the attempt to mount a combat air defense. Additional articles will provide detail concerning each, and further episodes will expand upon the context surrounding the attackers and why. However, before we begin, one change of perspective is needed to fully understand the Battle of September 11th. Change the word hijack in your mind to commandeer. That better describes the events of the day as a military operation, not a terrorist attack. We begin this new perspective, a military operation, with the attack itself. Altogether, the attack lasted for 4 hours and 18 minutes. It began when Mohammed Atta and a colleague crossed an initial line of departure at Portland, Maine, a probing attack. They entered the National Airspace System by passing through security at 5:45. The attack had begun. However, the main attack did not begin for nearly 2 hours. In the 7:30 half hour, Atta and colleague again passed through security, as did the other 17 attackers. 10 at Logan Airport in Boston, 5 at Dulles Airport in Northern Virginia, and 4 at Newark Airport, New Jersey. The window of vulnerability was just over an hour. By 8:15, American Airlines 11 was commandeered. By 8:43, United Airlines 175 was commandeered. By 8:54, American Airlines 77 was commandeered. By 9:29, United Airlines 93 was commandeered. The best testament to an opponent comes from their foe. Air defenders at the Northeast Air Defense Sector offered this assessment at 10:22.
If this guy is like the other guys, the hijackers have been strangling all the codes. They know what they're doing.
However, moments earlier, events were viewed as chaos.
It sounds like chaos.
Oh my God, yeah.
What you see before you is known as cascading bifurcation in chaos theory. We will discuss and elaborate further on how this pertains to September 11th in another episode. The attack ended at 10:03 when United Airlines 93 plummeted to Earth in rural western Pennsylvania near Shanksville. There was no further threat. The defense was reactive. The attackers always remained well ahead of defense decision-making, a military imperative for success. The National Airspace System defense did not begin until the attack was underway for 2.5 hours. Thereafter, it lasted for less than 2 more hours. The first indication was routine. Boston Center lost control of American Airlines 11 at approximately 8:15. Boston Center followed established procedures, querying other aircraft, checking with the previous controller, and broadcasting multiple attempts to reach the American Airlines 11 cockpit. The search turned urgent and ominous when a chilling voice was heard on the American Airlines 11 assigned frequency, a frequency shared by United Airlines 175. Mohammed Atta provided the first clue that this was something other than a routine hijacking. He also amplified the danger by clearly establishing that multiple planes had been commandeered. Boston Center alerted the Air Traffic Control System Command Center. Ultimately, 5 centers would be involved: Boston, New York, Indianapolis, Cleveland, and Washington, in order. Nothing the government did, at any level, hindered the attack. Informed private citizens aboard United Airlines 93 took matters into their own hands and forced the commandeered aircraft to crash far short of its intended target. Cleveland Center concluded the defense at 10:07, when it vectored a private jet to circle the United Airlines 93 crash site and obtain coordinates. That was the last defensive action by the Federal Aviation Administration, the operator of the National Airspace System. The national level defense extended, notionally, another 19 minutes when the icon representing United Airlines 93 in a traffic display system, what we know as a flight tracker, landed at National Airport, according to contemporary records. The National Airspace System was operated for the Federal Aviation Administration by the Air Traffic Control System Command Center, located at the time in Herndon, Virginia. It was up to Herndon Center to initiate a government response to include military air defense operations. Herndon Center delegated responsibility to Boston Center, which then acted on its own. Boston Center first called Otis Air Force Base Command Post and was referred to the Northeast Air Defense Sector, the component of NORAD responsible for coastal air defense in the Northeast. That call was placed a few seconds before 8:38. The air defense against the attack began at 8:38. It lasted just 1 hour and 29 minutes, concluding at 10:15 when the Northeast Air Defense Sector was notified that United Airlines 93 was down. The Northeast Air Defense Sector had just 4 fighters at its command, 2 at Otis Air Force Base on Cape Cod, and 2 at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia. The Northeast Air Defense Sector scrambled the Otis fighters at the same time as American Airlines 11 impacting the World Trade Center North Tower. The Langley fighters were placed on battle stations at 9:10, but not launched. At that critical decision point, no one was aware that American Airlines 77 was rapidly approaching the nation's capital from the west. Ironically, the radar system supporting the Northeast Air Defense Sector reacquired the track of American Airlines 77 in that moment. Northeast Air Defense Sector controllers did not notice. They were focused on the skies over New York City and Boston. Dulles Tracon frantically sounded the alarm at 9:32. Chaos ensued as the Northeast Air Defense Sector scrambled the Langley fighters, which went in the wrong direction. A story for another time. Plaintively, the Northeast Air Defense Sector Mission Crew Commander, responsible for the air defense, shouted out,
"God damn it, I can't even protect my NCA."
His available fighters were in position to defend against the last commandeered aircraft, United Airlines 93. No decision was required. Private citizens ended the battle of September 11th. The battle, the attack, the defense, the air defense was over well before any fighters from Andrews Air Force Base, just 10 nautical miles from the Pentagon, were airborne. Another story for another day.